The Tao Te Ching is a Chinese text dating from approximately 2,500 years ago, attributed to the sage Lao Tzu. Tao translates as the way. Te is power or virtue, and Ching means a book or text. So Lao Tzu left us a text that shows the way of virtue. No wonder this remarkable text is still highly venerated in China and throughout the world today. The wisdom set down in the path of the Tao Te Ching links us to the chain of universal spiritual schools across countless ages and nations that proclaims the inner path of self-liberation. It is the same path that is also professed by the Golden Rosicrucian in our time. The path of Tao is for those who wish to live according to your great and wise example, to know that I am linked with the divine plan of creation. When we look at the chaos of everyday life, the disturbances of the world and nature, the troubles and heartache of just living from day to day, we are often induced to seek words of peace and tranquility. That is why the wisdom in the Tao Te Ching still touches us nowadays. However, it is more than meditational platitudes for our crazy busy lives. It holds truths that show us a relevant spiritual path to our lives today. Although world peace or harmony between individuals is hard to attain on a social level, true peace of the soul and inner tranquility can be attained because we connect to the eternal values from outside this nature of changeability. If we remember that Lao Tzu's words are not spoken for our mortal personality, but are meant to touch and guide the eternal soul being within us, then the path of Tao Te Ching can show us the gnosis of Tao. The Tao Te Ching is a language that speaks of the unknowable mystery, the path towards that mystery, and the unity with that mystery. Listen with your heart open to the living wisdom of the soul, for the touch from the breath of God. And hopefully today you will find the gnosis of Tao. So why are we drawn to seek such an unknowable mystery, to become one with it? To approach this question, we must consider self-knowledge, for only here do the words of Lao Tzu begin to have meaning for us. And Lao Tzu states, all men know the existence of beauty. Beauty, cleft asunder, is ugliness. All men know the existence of love. Love, cleft asunder, is hatred. Friends, here Lao Tzu speaks of the nature of duality, that is not only the signature of the world in which we live, but also the signature of our internal world. Everything we know and experience, everything we long to permanently possess, eventually turns to its opposite. We can see in our life that happiness turns to sorrow, possession into loss, life into death. We can see the workings of this law of duality, this law of opposites, active within the smallest living microbe, right up to and including the largest of galaxies. Nothing in our perceivable universe can escape this law of opposites. But this law also applies to the activity of our inner being, our aspirations, our desires, our expectations, and even our values. All are subject to this same process. None are permanent, no matter how hard we try to hold on to them.
Now, it is this very inability to find permanence within ourselves, an experience that brings us continual disappointment, suffering, and sorrow, that etches an awareness into our being, into our very soul, a self-awareness that our life experiences continually move towards a maturity. And it is this very maturity, this deep awareness of our own impotence that stirs a reaction, a longing of the heart to be united with the eternal values we have come to recognize that we do not possess. In speaking of this longing, Lao Tzu says, give it birth, nourish it, give it birth, but do not seek to possess. Act, but do not appropriate. Endure, but do not rule. This is called profound Te. It is this longing that drives us to seek that which is no longer a part of us. Absolute truth, harmony, peace, and love. For the person who begins to seek higher values in their life, they have experience to the depths of their soul, the transience, the impermanence, the delusion of all of the attempts of their I being to create these values and hold onto them. Thus, he also becomes aware of the delusion of their I being. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. This pronouncement by Lao Tzu, first said around 500 BC, has been echoed by others in various ways down through the centuries. The underlying truth, of course, is that the greatest wisdom lies within you. Once you have gained that knowledge, you will understand the world in a more profound way. Knowing others, knowing things is all well and good, but to know yourself, to know what makes you tick, is an essential prerequisite for all greater and deeper knowledge. It is self-knowledge. This is the road to enlightenment. Lao Tzu is said to describe the way to liberation. If you want to understand his teachings, look into your own heart. And when you shine the light of awareness into your inner landscape, you can then make a shift from identification with the illusory ego soul to expansion into the wider primordial, eternal soul state, the spirit soul. The simplicity of the way of Tao seems to demand refreshingly little from those wishing to become one with the rhythms of the all. Wu Wei, or not doing, naturalness, simplicity, spontaneity, and the three treasures: compassion, moderation, and humility. Wu Wei is the method to connect with the power of Tao and let it transform us. Lao Tzu called Wu Wei, meaning non-action or not doing. This is not that you become passive or even lazy, or that you become indifferent to other human beings, but it is to understand that the only power that truly can transform us is the power of the spirit within. With the light of our new awareness, we can see objectively without judging or suppressing our fears, worries, desires, illusions, anger, joy, pride, and everything that is inside us, to let them go. Wu Wei creates the basis for the unfolding of the new powers present in the road of the heart. In this way, the forces of the divine circulate in our system and transform our three consciousness centers. Our thinking, feeling, and actions are no longer based on egocentricity. Our matter-born consciousness dissolves into the new soul consciousness, and everything is ready to bring you home.
The spiritual school of the Golden Rosy Cross is a power field that enables our transition from an egocentric I being to a soul being. This power field can be compared to a magnifying glass, which reveals elements hidden to the naked eye. So it is unmasking. If we allow a magnifying glass to capture the rays of the powerful source of light, such as the sun, the concentrated beam can ignite a fire. It gives us life and light. As hundreds, yes, thousands of spirit spark carriers come together, the group creates the conditions by which the spiritual sun can inflame others. The spirit spark, buried deep in our being, is the key to transforming our consciousness and transforming life. Why? Because it is outside of our self-centered consciousness. It enables the creation of a space from which we can perceive our inner world. We can observe our thoughts, our emotions, our actions, our state of being through a different perspective, in a new light, and so acquire through self-knowledge true autonomy. Lao Tzu says, "Who knows others is insightful, who knows himself is enlightened." And then he adds, "Who overcomes others is strong, who overcomes oneself is all-powerful. Now, we may not like what we see in ourselves and could be tempted to resist and even to fight what we perceive as negative in ourselves. But when you find yourself struggling, it is actually your ego fighting against itself. But the ego cannot overcome the ego. We may see ourselves craving for liberation, desiring real change, but are we not then on a subtle ego trip? What is required here is the reorientation of the personality from serving the I to serving the other one within. The method of connecting with the force of Tao and letting it transform us, Lao Tzu calls this method Wu Wei, which means no action or effortless action. It becomes clear, doesn't it, that we should not be searching for Wu Wei. We should practice it. The only force that can truly transform us is the force of Tao, the spirit, in and through the divine spark within us. We then simply, yet surely, just let go. Keep letting go every day. We do not need to force nor to control. Being in Wu Wei, we are in the flow of life. We move forward in silent stillness, in total surrender of self, guided by the powers revealed in and through the rose of the heart. Our three centers of consciousness undergo thus change, as does all of our individual electromagnetic system, thus unmasking and purifying. Lao Tzu's non-doing means in daily practice the application of I must diminish so that the other can grow in me. It is the light that demolishes the old and rebuilds the new, the original man. The light is like a current of pure force that circulates throughout our entire system. Lao Tzu writes, "The greatest gift you can give is that of your own transformation." So the human being is not only the one who knows, but the one who discovers the peace and harmony that has always been there. This inner balance can manifest in everything we are and we do. It is to be in unity with the one, thus neutrality, yet invulnerability. And what is important is the simplicity of being. Through knowledge and discernment, the purification process creates a space of possibility, and in the emptiness of joyful non-being, omnipresence reveals itself.